Tonight, I want to talk about something that cuts deep, something that many of us have struggled with at some point in our lives. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like you're holding on to someone who's already let go of you? Have you ever felt trapped, not by chains you can see, but by emotions that grip your heart and refuse to let go? If you've nodded your head or felt a twinge of recognition, this message is for you. Letting go and emotionally detaching from someone is not just an act of courage. It's an act of self-respect. It's about reclaiming your peace, your joy, and your sense of purpose. It's about stepping out of the shadow of pain and into the light of possibility. And tonight, I'm going to give you 10 rules to help you do just that. But before I dive in, let me remind you of this truth. You cannot control how someone treats you. You cannot force someone to stay when they've already chosen to walk away. What you can control is your response, your mindset, and your next steps. So let's take those steps together, one by one. Are you with me? Rule number 1, acceptance. The first step to freedom, acceptance. Let's sit with that word for a minute. It's not about waving a white flag or endorsing bad behavior. No, it's not about saying what they did was okay. It's about facing the truth head on, raw and unfiltered. See, we're human, and as humans, we have this incredible talent for running mental marathons around the what ifs and shoulda, wouldas, couldas. You know what I mean? If only I had said this. If only they hadn't done that. Stop. Just stop. You're not rewriting history. You're wasting your energy. Here's what I came from. 2 people can't spend 2 months together. There are 7 million people in the world. You are one of them. The first step to emotional detachment, to reclaiming your power, is acceptance. Accept the situation for what it is, not what you wish it was, not what it could have been if the stars had aligned just so. No, acceptance is about looking reality straight in the face, without judgment, without resistance, and without that little voice whispering, but maybe. Because maybe is not your friend right now. Think of it like this. You're in the middle of a storm. The wind is howling, the rain's coming down in sheets, and you're out there standing in the middle of it, soaking wet. You can't stop the storm. You can't shout at the clouds to part or command the rain to cease. But you do have a choice. You can stand there and keep getting drenched, or you can look for shelter. Acceptance, my friends, is finding that shelter within yourself. It's saying, this is what it is, and I'm going to deal with it on my terms. Now, let's get one thing straight. Acceptance is not defeat. Oh no. It's not giving up. It's not saying, well, I guess this is my life now. No. Acceptance is the ultimate act of self-respect. It's saying, I refuse to let this situation define me. I refuse to let it have power over me. I refuse to let it have power over me. Acceptance is taking back the keys to your own house. your mind, your soul. What do I do? But how do you do it? How do you accept something that's breaking your heart? Start by sitting with your feelings. Don't run from them. Don't numb them out with distractions or drown them in denial. Feel them. Acknowledge them. Let them wash over you like waves. Because here's the secret. Emotions lose their grip when you stop fighting them. The more you resist, the more they persist. But when you accept them, when you say, okay, sadness, I see you. Anger, you're here too. And heartbreak, yeah, you're tagging along. That's when you start to reclaim your power. Acceptance is also about living in the present. You can't start the process of moving on while you're still living in yesterday. Yesterday is gone. It's done. The chapter is closed. But today is a blank page. Today is where your story continues. And you can't write that story if you're still flipping back to reread the old one. So let it go, accept what happened, accept that it's over, and make the decision to move forward. And let's not forget grace. Acceptance requires grace for yourself and for the other person. Grace says, I'm human, I've made mistakes, they're human, they've made mistakes too. It doesn't mean you're excusing the pain or pretending it didn't hurt. It means you're choosing to rise above it. You're choosing to prioritize your peace over your pride. So tonight, if you're struggling to let go, remember this. Acceptance is not the end. It's the beginning. It's the first step to freedom, to healing, to rediscovering who you are without the weight of what's been holding you back. Accept it, embrace it, and watch as the storm within you begins to settle. Rule number 2, set boundaries, not walls. When you've been hurt, it's tempting, oh, so tempting, to build walls high and wide to keep people out. It feels safe, doesn't it? You think if I shut everyone out, no one can hurt me again. But let's get real for a moment. Walls don't just protect you from pain, they also block out love, connection, and the kind of growth that only comes from letting people in. Think about it. What's the use of being safe if you're also lonely and stagnant? Now, boundaries are an entirely different ball game. Boundaries are not walls. They're gates with locks. You decide who comes in, how far they go, and when it's time for them to leave. Boundaries are about empowerment, not isolation. They're about saying, this is my space, my heart, my mind, and I get to choose how they are treated. It's not about punishing others for what they did to you. It's about protecting the most valuable real estate you own, your inner peace. Picture this. Boundaries are like a beautifully tended garden. You put up a fence not to block the sunlight or the breeze, but to keep out the critters that would trample your flowers. You decide who gets to stroll through your garden, admire the blooms, and maybe even plant a seed or two. But if someone shows up with muddy boots and no regard for your hard work, you show them the gate, respectfully but firmly. Here's the truth. Boundaries are your declaration of self-worth. They say to the world, I value myself enough to set limits. I value myself enough to enforce them. And let me tell you something. The people who truly care about you, who respect you, they'll honor your boundaries. They'll understand that your no isn't rejection, it's self-respect. And those who don't, well, their reaction tells you everything you need to know about their place in your life. Let's break it down even further. Boundaries are your way of teaching others how to treat you. When you're clear about what you will and will not tolerate, you're sending a powerful message. I deserve respect, even if you didn't offer it before. It's like putting up a sign that says, this road has rules, follow them, or find another path. And don't let anyone guilt you into thinking boundaries are selfish. They're not. They're self-care. They're about preserving your energy, your time, and your emotional well-being. You can't pour from an empty cup, and boundaries ensure that your cup stays full. They're not about shutting people out. They're about letting the right people in, the ones who add to your life, not take away from it. So the next time someone crosses a line, don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to say, this doesn't work for me. It's not about being harsh. It's about being honest. It's about standing in your truth and refusing to shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. Remember this, you are worthy of love, respect, and kindness. And if someone can't meet you there, let your boundaries guide them to the exit. Because protecting your peace isn't just an act of self-love, it's an act of courage. And you, my friend, are worth every ounce of it. Rule number 3, accept what you cannot change. The first step to letting go, my friends, is acceptance. Let me tell you, acceptance doesn't mean you're rolling over and saying, yeah, I'm cool with everything that happened. Oh, no, it's not about approval. It's about acknowledgement. It's about looking life straight in the eye and saying, all right, this is my reality. This is where I am. And this is what I've got to work with. Acceptance is your starting line, not your finish line. It's the place where healing begins. Now, let me break it down for you. Too often we get stuck, and I mean stuck, clinging to the hope that things will magically rewind to the way they were. We replay the what if scenarios, the if only moments, as if they're going to change a single thing. But hear me when I say this, you can't heal while living in denial. Denial is like trying to run a marathon with a ball and chain around your ankle. You're not moving forward, you're just exhausting yourself. Acceptance, on the other hand, is freedom. It's saying, you know what? This didn't go the way I planned and it hurts. But I'm not going to let it define me. I'm not going to let it hold me back. When you accept what you cannot change, you're not giving up, you're gearing up. You're clearing the path for growth, for progress, for transformation. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're standing on the shore, holding onto a rope that's tied to a boat drifting out to sea. That boat is your past. It's the things you wish had gone differently, the people who hurt you, the opportunities that slipped through your fingers. You can hold on to that rope with all your might, but what's it doing to you? It's pulling you into the water. It's dragging you away from solid ground. Now, what happens if you let go of that rope? You're still standing. You're still breathing. And now your hands are free to build something new. Acceptance is letting go of that rope. It's not about forgetting or the past. It's about choosing not to let it control you. It's about understanding that some things are out of your hands, and that's okay. Because what's in your hands, your choices, your attitude, your future, that's where your power lies. But let's be real for a second. Acceptance isn't easy. It's not a one and done deal. It's a process. It's waking up every day and reminding yourself, I can't change the past, but I can change how I move forward. It's catching yourself when you start to slip into those what-if spirals and pulling yourself back to the present. And here's the kicker: acceptance doesn't mean you have to like what happened. It doesn't mean you're okay with the hurt, the loss, the betrayal. It just means you're choosing not to let it own you. You're choosing to face it head on, to learn from it, and to grow through it. So, the next time you find yourself wishing things were different, stop and take a breath. Remind yourself, this is where I am, this is my reality, and I have the strength to deal with it, because you do. You're stronger than you think, and acceptance is the key to unlocking that strength. When you accept what you cannot change, you're not just opening the door to healing. You're stepping into a whole new room, a room filled with possibilities, with growth, with the kind of peace that only comes when you let go of what's holding you back. So let go of the rope, stand tall on solid ground, and watch what happens when you embrace the power of acceptance. Rule number 4, focus on yourself. Letting go, my friend, is not just about losing someone. No, it's not about what's gone, it's about what's left, and what's left is you. Your beautiful, talented, unstoppable self. You see, this is your time. This is your moment to pour into you. Let me say that again for the people in the back: pour into you. Take all that energy you've been giving away all that time, all that love, all that care, and invest it where it belongs. In your growth, in your passions, in your dreams. Maybe you've been so caught up in someone else's world that you've forgotten about your own. Maybe you've been running around trying to fix, to please, to hold on, that you've neglected the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. So now's the time. This is your wake-up call. Rediscover yourself. Reintroduce yourself to the things that make your soul sing. Let me paint you a picture. Think of yourself as a garden. Maybe it's been a while since you've tended to your soil. Maybe the weeds of doubt and neglect have crept in. But guess what? You still got roots. You still got the potential to bloom. It's time to start planting seeds again. Seeds of joy. Seeds of curiosity. Seeds of purpose. Take that trip you've been dreaming about. Pack your bags, even if it's just for a weekend getaway. Let the world remind you of its beauty, and in turn, let it remind you of yours. Or start that project you've been putting off. You know, the book you've been wanting to write, the business you've been meaning to launch, the painting you've been envisioning. Now's the time to make it happen. And don't forget about learning. There's power in growth. Pick up that guitar, learn to dance, take a cooking class, or finally figure out how to fix that leaky faucet. Every skill you learn, every new thing you try, adds to your sense of accomplishment and builds your confidence. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Let me tell you something: your life doesn't end because someone walked out of it. Oh no, my friend. In fact, this could be the beginning of something extraordinary. You see, when one door closes, it's not just that another one opens. Sometimes you find yourself in a whole new building, full of opportunities you never even imagined. Think of this as your time to rewrite your story. You are the author, the director, the star of this show. So what's the next chapter going to look like? Is it going to be filled with self-discovery, triumph, and joy? I think so. But only if you make the choice to focus on you. And let me be clear, focusing on yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. And you certainly can't build a life of joy and fulfillment if you're constantly giving away all your energy. This is about recharging, refueling, and remembering just how amazing you are. So go ahead and prioritize you. Take that time, make those moves, and build a life so full of happiness and purpose that letting go feels less like a loss and more like a gain. Because when you focus on yourself, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. And trust me, that's the best kind of revenge against heartbreak, living your best, most beautiful life. Rule number 5, no contact. Cut the cord. This one's tough. I know it is. It's like an addiction, plain and simple. You crave that connection. You long for that validation. You yearn for that little hit of dopamine that comes with a text, a call, or even a fleeting glance. But let me tell you something. I'm saying this with love. You can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. No contact means exactly what it says. No calls, no texts, no social media stalking, no late night accidental likes on their posts, no driving by their house hoping to catch a glimpse, nothing. Zilch. Zero. You see, it's like pulling off a bandage. You can't do it slowly, peeling it back inch by inch, prolonging the pain. No, you've got to rip it off. Quick, decisive. Painful, yes, but necessary. Because every time you reach out, every time you check their profile, every time you entertain the idea of just one more conversation, you're not just reopening the wound, you're pouring salt into it. You're delaying the healing process. You're giving them power over you. And let me tell you something, it's time to take back that power. Cut the cord. Sever the ties. Go cold turkey. And I know you're thinking, Denzel, that's easier said than done. And you're right. It is. But easy doesn't always mean right. Sometimes the right thing to do is the hardest thing you've ever done. This is one of those times. Think of it like detoxing. You've got to purge yourself of the habits, the patterns, the memories that keep you tethered to them. You've got to create distance, not just physical distance, but emotional distance. And here's the thing, no contact isn't just about them, it's about you. It's about reclaiming your peace of mind, your emotional stability, your sense of self. It's about proving to yourself that you are strong enough to let go, that you don't need their approval, their attention, or their validation to feel whole. And let me tell you something you don't. You've got everything you need within you. Everything. So what does no contact really look like? It's unfollowing them on social media, and I don't mean muting them. I mean unfollowing, blocking if you have to. It's deleting their number from your phone so you're not tempted to send that "I was just thinking about you" text. It's avoiding places where you know they'll be, not because you're running away, but because you're choosing your peace over unnecessary pain. It's setting firm boundaries and sticking to them, even when it's hard. And let's talk about the hard part for a moment, because it's going to hurt. You're going to feel the absence, the emptiness. You're going to want to reach out to fill the void. But every time you resist that urge, you're building strength. Every time you choose not to check their profile, not to pick up the phone, not to drive by their house, you're reclaiming a piece of yourself. You're proving to yourself that you can do this, that you are capable of moving forward. And let me remind you of something. This isn't about punishment. It's not about playing games or trying to make them miss you. This is about healing. It's about creating space for you to grow, to rediscover yourself, to rebuild your life without their shadow hanging over it. This is about freedom, your freedom. So my friend, cut the cord, rip off the bandage, go no contact and don't look back. Because what's ahead of you, peace, clarity, joy, is so much greater than anything you're leaving behind. You've got this. I believe in you. Rule number 6, stop romanticizing the past. We have this funny little quirk, don't we? When something ends a relationship, a chapter, a dream, our minds start replaying the highlight reel. Oh, we remember the laughter, the sweet words whispered in the quiet moments, the grand gestures that made our hearts skip a beat. And suddenly the past starts looking like a golden age, like something we can't live without. But let me tell you something, that highlight reel, it's edited. Selective memory is a powerful thing, and it can keep you stuck in a place you've outgrown. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore the good times. Celebrate them, appreciate them, but don't let them blind you to the full story. There's a reason you're trying to let go. Be honest, really honest with yourself about the hurt, the disrespect, the unmet needs. Because here's the truth, nostalgia can be a liar. It paints over the cracks, smooths out the rough edges, and leaves you chasing something that was never as perfect as it seemed. Think about it. How many times have you caught yourself saying, but we were so happy back then, while conveniently forgetting the arguments, the tears, the sleepless nights? It's like trying to drive forward while staring in the rearview mirror. You're going to crash, my friend. You can't move forward when your focus is stuck on what's behind you. Let's take it a step further. Romanticizing the past is like clinging to a photograph of a place you've already left. The photo might be beautiful, but it's not the full picture. It doesn't show the storms, the struggles, the moments when you felt small and unseen. And here's the kicker, even if you could go back, it wouldn't be the same. You've changed, grown, and evolved. Trying to fit into the past is like trying to wear shoes you've outgrown. It's uncomfortable, and it's holding you back from stepping into something better. So what's the solution? Face the truth, even when it's painful. Acknowledge the hurt, the heartbreak, and the lessons. Because every tear you've cried, every sleepless night, every tough conversation, it's all part of your story. And your story doesn't end here. The past is a chapter, not the whole book. And let me tell you, the next chapter, it's waiting for you to write it. You've got to make peace with the past to find freedom in the future. And that means letting go of the fantasy version of what was, the good times. They're a memory. The bad times, they're a lesson. But neither defines who you are right now. You're not the sum of what happened to you. You're the result of how you choose to rise from it. And rise you will. When you stop romanticizing the past, you make room for something real, something authentic, something that matches the person you become. You open the door to new possibilities, new connections, and new joy. But first, you've got to close the door on what's already behind you. So, my friend, take one last look at that highlight reel, then put it down. Thank it for the good times, acknowledge the lessons, and walk forward. Because the freedom you're searching for, it's not in the past. It's waiting for you on the other side of letting go. Rule number 7, process your emotions. Don't bottle it up. Pain is inevitable. Suffering, that's optional. Let's get something straight right now. You're going to feel things. Sadness, anger, confusion, grief, maybe even all of them at the same time, and that's okay. But let me tell you what's not okay, trying to shove all those emotions into a little box, locking it up tight and pretending it doesn't exist. You've got to process what's happening. Don't bottle it up. You're not a robot, you're a human being, and part of being human is feeling. Imagine your emotions are like a river. When life shakes you, that river starts to flow faster, more violently. But what happens if you try to dam it up? That water's going to build and build until one day, bam, the dam breaks and the flood takes everything in its path. Instead, let that river flow. Acknowledge the current, respect it, feel it, let it run its course. Because here's the truth, those emotions, as overwhelming as they might feel, are temporary. They're just passing through. They're not meant to stay. Now, how do you let them flow without letting them drown you? You find healthy ways to express them. Maybe it's talking to a trusted friend who can listen without judgment. Maybe it's grabbing a pen and pouring your heart out into a journal. Maybe it's hitting the gym, pounding out your frustrations on a treadmill, or lifting something heavy until your muscles burn. And don't underestimate the power of music. Sometimes the right song can say everything you're feeling but don't have the words for. Cry if you need to. Go ahead. Let those tears fall. It's not weakness, it's release. But here's the catch. Don't let those emotions consume you. Feel them, yes, but don't give them the driver's seat. They're passengers, not the captain of your ship. Don't let anger define you. Don't let sadness steal your joy. Don't let grief build a permanent home in your heart. They're just visitors. Treat them as such. Think of your emotions like a storm. When the thunder rolls and the rain pours, it's intense, it's raw. But storms don't last forever, they pass. And when they do, the air is clearer, fresher. You have to trust that this storm inside you will pass too. You don't have to have it all figured out today. Just take it one moment at a time. Breathe. Acknowledge what you're feeling. And remind yourself that this too shall pass. Grieving the loss of a relationship isn't a weakness, it's a process. It's necessary. It's part of the journey toward healing. Allow yourself to feel the pain, but don't set up camp there. Pain is a chapter in your story, not the whole book. Let yourself grieve, but also let yourself grow. Let yourself heal. Let yourself move forward. Because you're not just surviving, you're becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient with every step you take. Rule number 8, focus on the present. Embrace the now. The past is gone, folks. Let it go. The future, well, it's out there somewhere waiting to unfold in its own time. But right here, right now, this is where your power lies, this moment, this breath. Don't waste it. Don't let it slip through your fingers like sand because you're too busy staring at the rearview mirror or squinting into the horizon. See, life happens in the present. Right here in the small, seemingly insignificant moments that most of us take for granted. That warm cup of coffee in the morning, the way the sunlight dances through the trees, the sound of a child's laughter, or the way a good song can make you tap your feet and nod your head. These moments are the threads that weave the fabric of your life, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss them. Here's the thing, dwelling on the past is like trying to read yesterday's newspaper. It's done. It's over. No amount of reading or regret can change it. And worrying about the future, that's like trying to predict the weather 3 months from now. Sure, you can guess, but the truth is you'll never really know. So why waste your energy? Instead, focus on the present. Be mindful. Take a deep breath and feel it fill your lungs. Look around and really see what's in front of you. The beauty of a sunset, the rhythm of rain against the window, the kindness in a stranger's smile. These are the moments that make up your life. These are the moments that matter. And let's talk about joy for a second. Joy doesn't live in the past or the future. It lives in the now. It's in the way your favorite meal tastes, the way your best friend makes you laugh until your sides ache, or the way a simple thank you can warm your heart. Joy is a choice, my friends. It's about appreciating what you have right here, right now, instead of longing for what you lost or what you think you need to find. This isn't just some feel-good advice. This is about reclaiming your power. When you focus on the present, you stop giving your energy to things you can't change or control. You center yourself, you ground yourself, and you open yourself up to the magic of what's right in front of you. So I'm asking you right now to pause, take a moment, look around, feel the air on your skin, the beat of your heart, the life buzzing all around you. This is it. This is your life unfolding one beautiful moment at a time. Don't let the past steal it. Don't let the future scare it away. Embrace the now and live it fully. Because when you do that, my friends, you're not just living, you're thriving. Rule number 9, surround yourself with supportive people. You don't have to carry the weight of the world all by yourself. Life can throw some heavy punches, but you don't have to take EM alone. Find those people who got your back, who lift you up when you're feeling down, and who remind you of just how incredible you are. I'm talking about the ones who call you out when you're slacking, but also cheer loudest when you win. Whether it's family, friends, or a support group, find your tribe. These are the people who will help you pick up the pieces when life tries to break you. They'll push you when you want to quit and celebrate with you every step of the way. If you don't have that kind of support, go find it. Never be afraid to ask for help. Healing ain't a solo mission. It's a journey best walked with others by your side. So trust in your people. And remember, you ain't alone in this fight. Rule number 10, forgive. Not for them, but for you. Forgiveness is not about letting someone off the hook. It's not about excusing their behavior or forgetting what they did. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. It's about saying, I refuse to let your actions define my future. When you hold on to anger, you're only hurting yourself. Forgive not because they deserve it, but because you do. Forgive to release the pain, to heal, and to move forward with a lighter heart. Ladies and gentlemen, letting go and emotionally detaching is not an act of weakness, it's an act of strength. It's a declaration that your peace is non-negotiable, that your happiness is worth fighting for. So take these 10 rules and make them your own, apply them, live them, and watch as you transform pain into power, heartbreak into healing, and endings into beginnings. Remember this, you are not defined by who stays or who leaves. You are defined by how you rise, how you grow, and how you love yourself. So let go, move forward, and embrace the incredible journey ahead. Thank you.